Madalyn Sklar, host of the Social ROI Chat. We had such a great one today. I'm here with a special guest. Please welcome Mordecai Holtz. Mordecai, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. First of all, I'm thrilled to have you on the chat. I've known you for quite a while on Twitter and
Yep.
always impressed with you.
Thank you so much.
And I wanted to have you on the chat, but I knew with the time difference, you're all the way over in Israel, so it's pretty late over there.
Yeah, it's 1:15 in the morning, but eventually you get to sometimes you just got to do things that you really want to do, and you
Yeah.
hustle your hustle way out, and you take a nap in between and make it work.
I appreciate you making it work because, I just see you as a great influencer when it comes to Twitter and so many different areas in business. And I thought today would be a great day to have you come on and talk about our topic today, which is Twitter for startups.
Awesome.
So I want to go through a couple of these questions and have you give your expanded thoughts on it. But before we do that, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I've been for the past 4.5 years. I'm the chief digital strategist of Blue Thread Marketing, a company that I founded. It's based out of Israel, but we have clients we've worked with clients across 8 countries. We've worked with over $4 million in digital spend, from anything from content writing, social management, ads management, PPC, every influencer marketing. And our clients range from startups to the city of Jerusalem's tourism division. So you've got a nice wide range with a lot of great fun things to work with. That's what we do.
That is super cool. And we have a lot of mutual friends. I remember some of, there was like a group of you all that were together. Was it Hong Kong? It was somewhere over in Asia a while back.
Could have been, and that was in September. I was in China and Shanghai. And recently in Engage Prague, I met some of our other mutual friends was it May? Yeah, May. There's also some mutual friends as well. So
that is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing because we're all spread out around the world. And then at the end of the day, it really is a small world.
I think one of them was Diana Adams, which is like when I met her in September. And it was the first time we met. We know each other for, I think, 7 years already now via Twitter. And
wow.
And then like as soon as we saw each other, it was just like, instant big hug, big connection. It was great.
She's awesome. I've known her for many years through Twitter as well. And I finally got to meet her in person last year. So great. Kevin, our CEO at Manage Twitter, is here. And he said that he's just back from Tel Aviv.
Oh, why didn't you tell me now? Why did you tell me now?
Yeah. Well, it's great with Manage Twitter. They're based in Sydney, Australia. They have people all over the world as part of the team, and it's just really cool. I just love how businesses today can just be all over, and really amazing. All right, let's talk about the chat. So, Twitter for startups. Let's look at. Let's get to question number 1, and we'll just dive into a few of these. We'll start with number 1. So, even a great product can fail if the marketing is poor. How does Twitter give startups a competitive advantage?
So, my answers on Twitter and during the chat were kind of brief and to the point, but really, the first thing I think of when and this is what I do when I start working with a startup is I always do is first let's analyze the industry that they're trying to work in and analyze their market, the audience that they may be trying to reach, and also the people, both the industry and also their potential audience, potential customers. And Twitter is a great way, very simple and very user-friendly way to do it. And it's also free, so it gives you a quick and dirty kind of thing. And I'm not saying that your entire marketing campaign should be based around it, but it gives you definitely a good way to start things going. It's also a good way to start seeing who your competition is. And if you have, and everyone has competition, and by using your competition, you're also learning what topics they're talking about, what people are saying about them, what social media content they're using, maybe not only on Twitter, but across the board, because usually people share across different platforms. And then you're also doing is seeing what people are how they're doing or not do what they're doing or not doing. And if you can see that, you automatically have a competitive advantage because you can find those little opportunities for, wow factor and adding a lot of good value to that audience.
Absolutely. And that like goes right into question number 2. What type of audience do early startups typically aim to reach? And are these people on Twitter?
So, the answer is everyone. Typically startups are looking to reach their customers or the potential customers. They're looking to reach out, obviously, to thought leaders, journalists, press, bloggers, whatever. And also they're also looking to reach potential investors, not necessarily to secure funding directly via Twitter, but I've done that too, not funding, but for partnerships and collaboration. But more importantly is that they want to be on the mindset and be on the top of the mind or in the mind of the investors that might be using Twitter and looking to see what startups are in their space or what they're interested in. So if you can identify the people correctly and create and organize your lists and organizing your information correctly, then you have all the right people on Twitter. Maybe they might not be as active as you want them to be, but if you have the right way if you plan it correctly and you're deliberate about your opportunities, then you'll find them. You'll find the people and you'll be able to reach them. Will everyone reach success on Twitter? No. And also it's a long game. It's not something that's going to happen from today till tomorrow. So that's important also. But it's definitely a good way to break that initial barrier of, entry, and give you also good social proof, which in my opinion, a lot of people, today's world, people are looking you up and online before they even talk to you, see what you're doing, see how active you are, and see what kind of comments you have. And if you can use all of that information to your advantage, and target the right people that you're looking to reach. Startups have that great. Twitter definitely uses that.
Absolutely. And Jim Katzeman is here and he says, yes, use your competitive
competition. Yeah.
Competition to your advantage.
Yeah, it's totally. I think it's one of the things that people don't use Twitter enough for. It's the competition. Right. Competition is right there, and especially if you're trying as a startup, you're trying to enter a market that already is established. And if you're trying to do that, then the competition is probably more established than you, and therefore you should be seeing what they're doing or not doing and using it to your advantage in a strong way. Thanks, Jim.
Right. And you mentioned lists. What are some great tips that when it comes to lists? Because I find that this is something that not everyone's utilizing, and this is a great way to really help when you're using Twitter. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So lists are, everyone, just like on, when you have a phone book or anything like that, you have like these nice, simple ways to create a list of your important contacts, your important leads, and people that you want to kind of read and organize in a relatively simple way. So Twitter gives you the opportunity to create lists, and they don't have to be public. They can be just for you. And then I use it, the way I view it and the way I've worked with clients on it is I view it almost like a sales sheet, where you basically you take your list of your influencers, your journalists, your customers, and you create lists of people that are using Twitter to your are using Twitter or within your realm. And then you want to see what they're writing about, what their content, what they're sharing, what they're saying about you and other people in the industry. And then you're going to find those opportunities for interaction or engagement, so that way you can really fine tune and craft a message, because most people don't only talk about their business or their successes online. They're also talking about personal things or things that they're interested in, whether it's sports or music or whatever it is. And so if you can find the opportunities to kind of navigate that the right way, then your list just gives you a much more focused, monitoring system, as opposed to just trying to, filter out all the noise. So it's a quick way to filter. But you can also do is, I recently read of a startup who is doing is basically he uses Twitter list, and then through the Twitter list he uses Zapier. I think it's called Zapier, which is like and he uses it as a way to pick up. He basically uses it as a way to pick up key people in his industry, And if there's a link that they're sending out with that information, with that from that list that he's already created, then the list gets automatically populated into like a content sheet, and then he uses that for his newsletter that he sends out once a month. So it's kind of like another way that he sees what the influencers are saying, using their content, putting it back into the newsletter that gets out from his own company, from his own startup, and then basically he's showing how the audience, the relevant industry, then creates the content funnel for his own startup. So it's like a really interesting way to funnel it out.
That's super cool. I love using Twitter lists to stay organized, and I have a lot of them that are private for my eyes only.
Right.
I think it's just a really amazing way to stay super, super organized. But then I also love curating Twitter
Right.
lists. And we had talked a little bit about that earlier on the chat. And Kevin had mentioned about the Twitter list he has of influencers, which I think is super smart. I developed one years ago when I was first getting into social media, and started it as a private list that was just for me, of like all these big industry influencers in social media. And then over time, I realized I'm curating this great list. Why don't I make it public so other people can see it and even subscribe to it? And then, of course, if you add people, they get notified, which is also a big plus. So I just find so many great uses for Twitter lists.
Twitter lists it's like, it's an underrated tool that people don't necessarily completely underrated. Even today, when so many lists have been created, and someone on the chat was saying we need to have lists of the lists, but
Right.
but it's underrated. But it's such a simple way to really get the content focused, and like you said, it's a great curation tool. And then if you think about it smartly and in a deliberate way, you can actually use that Twitter list and that information and that curation to really help you move your business forward and move the people that are in that list into some sort of opportunity, as opposed to just saying, here we're just watching what they're saying and everything like that.
Right. Absolutely. Great points. And then let's just do one more question. Sure. Question number 3. I love this one too. How can Twitter be used to monitor industry trends, and why is this useful for startups?
Well, startups really need to, this is important for any company, but startups especially, because they want to show that they're relevant, that they understand the industry, that they have value to provide within that industry. And Twitter is just, a boon of information. And, kind of goes back to our previous conversation, is when you can set up lists for monitoring conversations, then you also understand what people are saying about your company or the industry. You also target audience. You also listen to pressure points, what people are saying, good, bad. And if you also see what trends, meaning if you understand that there's a hashtag that's relevant, or, I use hashtags and keywords very often interchangeably, because the people who are using the keywords in your industry are the same people who are probably going to be using the hashtags in the same context. So if you can use them to your advantage, and you start creating, some sort of monitoring system that you're watching those topics, and you're watching the information come in, so that you're seeing what people are saying about that topic. And then first of all, you can create content for your own brand around it. So then you're finding out that this is relevant, and it's top level information because it's real time. But it's also that you're allowed, like we said before, it gives you a chance to really curate the content, and then you can share it out throughout over time. So it really gives you that, your opportunity to kind of interact with your audience and the people around you, and achieve new goals, and to learn more, because you're also learning, but also gives you a chance to see what people are saying, or the content that people are writing about in the industry, and then show how either you can add to that piece of content, or you can actually do is, comment on the blog, comment on the post, whatever it is, and then start, saying what I would do in this case, as opposed to just retweeting it, which is, one of the questions later on in the conversation we had. But not only retweeting, but adding value to it. And then also, if you think like a journalist a little bit, you can also do is take that same headline or similar headline and rewrite it, or reframe it in a way that's helpful to your business or your startup.
Wow, so much great information. This is awesome, Mordecai. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you? I'm going to post a link to your Twitter here for everyone.
Twitter's probably the best way to go. I'm very active on Twitter, and I have the advantage. as opposed to right now where I'm at the disadvantage. I have usually the advantage that I'm 7 hours ahead. So if I get a tweet, I'll be happy to post it back, flip it back, and they'll get it to them when they wake up in the morning. So that's I'm pretty active all the time. I'm happy to talk, help out if I can. Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another great guest, another awesome chat. So we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.